This is the Underground Leadership Movement, Episode 3. Welcome to the Underground, where we're here to create a better fire service by building up one leader at a time. We are the many that are hungry for growth, unsatisfied by minimums, and passionate about our mission. Whether we are supported by our organizations or not, the Underground is where we can band together to help each other reach and exceed our potential. Join the movement. Thank you, everybody, for coming and spending some time here today in the Underground. Episode number 3 will be a good one. It's actually what I was going to start with, but I just keep going back and forth on the I guess you could call it the ones that are more important, and I just feel like they're all important. So, episode 3, foundation of trust and respect, building relationships. So, getting right into it, this is something that over the past few years since becoming an officer myself, I have really struggled with as far as the viewpoints of others. There's always kind of a head-to-head kind of conflict on this mentality, and what mentality I'm thinking of, or what I'm talking about, is this: once you become an officer, you have to separate yourself from the crews. You have to separate yourself from those that you are leading. Or the mentality of, once you become an officer, you continue to build on those relationships that you have been creating your entire career, and continue to use those relationships to earn trust, earn respect, and build a better foundation for your crew. Obviously, those are two very different very different mindsets. I personally picked the second one, and this is something that I've always been mindful of, even before I became an officer, and that is that I don't want to change. Yes, there are certain things that you are going to have to change, as far as you gain responsibilities, and you gain a lot of other things, a lot of liabilities, a lot of things like that. So obviously there are changes. What I am talking about is who I am. I am not going to change who I am when I become an officer. And that was my mindset even before I was in that role. I'll take a second for those watching the video. Let's shut this door. But like I said, that was something that I have been focusing on personally. I would say even years before I became an official officer, even years before I became a formal leader of my department, because I've always thought that that was something very important. I don't want to change who I am, and who I am is somebody that puts a lot of importance in relationships. And so that's kind of why I have always had that mindset of, you know what, I'm not going to distance myself from my crew. I will say this right out of the gate: I would not be an officer if I felt like that's what you had to do. I would not be an officer if that is the mentality that I would have to take. Because to me, those relationships, those friendships, that fun and family environment, and just the razzing and the everything that goes with it, the joking and the pranks. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't I wouldn't want to be in that role, because those are the most enjoyable parts of this job to me. And I say that, and of course, you can go in all different directions with that. Okay, well, I'm here for the citizens. Yes, I'm here to serve. I'm here to help as many people as I can when I'm here. I enjoy fighting fires, and there's so many other things about that. But when it comes down to it, the most time we spend is with these people, and a lot of that is at the station. That's what we're doing the most of, spending time at the firehouse with these people. And so if I had to use the majority of my time as a firefighter, or an officer in the fire service, by myself in my office, secluded and not having fun and building relationships with my people, I wouldn't be doing it. I would have no interest in it. But luckily, I don't subscribe to that mindset. I don't subscribe to that theory. And I hope that I can talk anyone out there that does out of it today or in the future, because I just don't believe in it. And so, getting started, I talked about how important relationships are to me. And it's not hard to see. Most of us spend a third of our lives in these firehouses with these people. It's always talked about, it's your second family. Well, that's literally what it is, a third of your life. That means that, and this is a visualization that has really hit me in the face years ago when I heard somebody say it. If I have a 12-year-old daughter, which just so happens that I do, I have been out of her life at work for 4 of those years. 4 of her 12 years of life I have missed because of my job. That really puts it in a crazy perspective to me. And if you haven't really thought of it like that, I guarantee you it's going to make you stop and think. But that being said, those 4 years were spent with these firefighters that I was with. And so I want to have good, solid relationships with these people, because it is who I spend so much time with. Why wouldn't you? And so, I think probably the biggest hang up on this whole deal, and it actually goes back to a comment that was made on episode 2 about putting your people first, is that you got to be careful of people taking advantage of those relationships. And that's absolutely the truth. However, I feel like if you do truly build those relationships, if you do truly build respect amongst the people you are working with, and trust, and everything else that goes with it, that's not going to happen very often, because of that respect, because of that trust, because they know you're taking care of them, and that makes them feel good. That's what they want. You are allowing them to be a part of something special and important and bigger than them. So why would you want to disrespect that? Why would you want to take advantage of that? Does it happen? Absolutely. There are people out there with personalities that just can't help themselves take advantage of situations like that. Does that mean that those very few people make it to where we can't be like that? Absolutely not. I think the percentage of people that are like that would take advantage of that situation are so minor compared to all the others that would thrive and benefit from having a good relationship with their officer. And so that's kind of the mindset I take in it. And it's about accountability. And accountability is really it's the hardest part of this job for me, speaking personally. I I am recording this on the day after what I will very quickly and easily call the hardest day of my career. And was it because I ran a difficult call? No. We didn't have anything that was out of the ordinary. We didn't have a fire, we didn't have a wreck, nothing that was strenuous as far as critical thinking and making decisions or danger or anything like that. It was hard because I had to do something that took more strength to do than anything I've ever done. I had to do something that tested my weight in the realm of values. If I didn't do this, I felt it compromised everything that I stood for as far as value centered leadership. And so I felt like I had to do it. I felt like I had to do it out of respect for somebody else. And so I did it. I I got together the strength to do it. I probably butchered it. I probably, did a terrible job of trying to do the right thing. And then the kicker is in the end, I don't even know if it was the right thing to do. I don't know if it was the best choice to make because it was such a crappy choice to have to make that even being honest and trying to be respectful and doing the right thing, what I felt like, it didn't make the situation better. And so I look back on it and just wonder, was it worth it? I don't know. I'm learning every day. I make mistakes every day. I screw up every day, and that's not every day at the firehouse. That's every day. I I have learned and grown so much, not only at work but at home, and it's a drop in the bucket as to what I still have left to go. So I hope that that can continue because I do have a lot. I have a lot to get better at. So anyway, accountability is huge. That is the key piece of all this. If there are people that start to take advantage of these situations of you trying to lead by the putting people first or lead by building relationships and being a friend, then that's when the accountability has to come in place. I heard yesterday on a podcast, I believe it was Anthony Avillo on the Make Do podcast. I know it was one of those guys, but they said that a quote that they always liked was, I can be your friend and I can be your boss together. I can do that. But if you do something that causes me to have to pick between the two, I'm going to be your boss. And that's kind of paraphrasing a little bit. I'm kind of adding a little bit more into it that makes it, really stand out to me. But it's a very, very good statement. And that is one I believe in 100%. I can be your friend. I want to be your friend. I obviously can be your boss. And I believe that I can do both of them at the same time. But if you put me in the situation to where I have to pick between either being your friend and turning my head and allowing something to happen that shouldn't be happening, or doing my job and calling you out on it and holding you accountable. I will and I have to be the boss. I have to hold you accountable. I have to make the decision to do my job. And so that is the key to all this. If you can't do that, then no, you're not able to be the friend and the boss. But that doesn't mean you can't learn how to do that. I look back at who I was 19 years ago when I hired on with amazement because I have always been somebody that has just ran as fast as they could from just, from fights and from holding people accountable and from I don't like that. I have always hated conflict. I'm very conflict avoidant. That comes natural to me. And that's why it was such a fight yesterday. I did not want to do it. But to look at who I am now, just from the 19 years of being in the fire service, and whatever amount of years as trying to be an informal leader, and now around 10 years or so as an officer. And not to mention, and probably maybe even more importantly, all the stuff I've had to deal with at home, the conflict at home, the really, really crappy life situations that I have been put in, the internal conflict and fight that I have had to put up just to survive and to help my kids survive at times. It has made me into a different person, and I am very thankful for that, because I could not be a very good leader if I didn't have that. I didn't have a backbone. I didn't have any of that. And that's what life has given to me, and I am very thankful for that. But that being said, that's why I am comfortable doing this now. I am comfortable with the fact that I can be friendly with my people. I can build those relationships. I can care about them personally, but at the same time, I can do my job. And so, like I said, that is the key to all of it. So, building trust. Like I said, the kind of the topic is building relationships, building trust, building respect. And so, getting into trust. Another quote that I really like, and I have I've seen it so many times, I don't know who to give credit to, but it says that trust is given, mistrust is earned. And kind of my version of that is, you're going to get my trust. You don't have to earn my trust. I get a brand new person on my crew, and I trust that they have a pretty decent base knowledge because they go through a good academy. And it's my job from that point to get them even further. That's my job. So they have trust coming in. Whether they keep that trust or not, that's up to them. That's on them. That trust can go away if they aren't living up to what it has taken to gain, access to that trust. And like I said, I'm not saying they earn it. It sounds like I'm conflicting with myself here, but really, I have that trust given freely, but watching and paying attention, if I see something that goes against that trust, then that's when that mistrust is earned. And so I think that's a cool way to look at it. Some of the ways that I like to some things I like to use to build that trust from others in me is empowerment. I think empowerment is it's such a great tool for leaders. And it's actually a topic on my list to get into at some point. Empowerment over micromanagement. And that's going to be probably a pretty spirited topic for me, because I hate micromanagement. I'll just say that. I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, empowerment. I like to say empowerment is a powerful thing, and it truly is. We have such an ability to use so many situations, and this is not just at work. This is we're talking about home with your kids or anything else. There's so many situations that we can use as an empowerment tool, an empowerment situation. And so I really love using that as a way. And I feel like being at the station, that is the empowerment workshop. There are so many times at the station, at the firehouse, that we can use as empowerment. And I'll tell this story really quickly, because I think it's such a great lesson in that area. And some of these topics, I will say, myself and Justin Mann, my friend and driver at my station, we are kind of preparing a lecture for conference in July, Lake of the Ozarks. And so I don't want to I don't want him to feel like I'm ripping off everything that we're doing. I know this is going to be a story that is going to be told in that class, but anyway, um, so months ago, we had a problem at the station. We have a tiny bunker gear closet, and it was completely full, and it looked like trash. I mean, there was no organization. It was just basically an open space, and it was awful, and I hated it. And what made it even worse is that we were going to be quickly getting a set of wildland gear. Basically, is just a set of gear that you we can use on in wildland situations or wrecks or things like that. And so that was going to be it was I wouldn't even know what that would have looked like if we didn't do anything to it. So that became a project for us. You know, get some plans together, figure out a way to turn this little bitty closet into an organized, cool area that we could be proud of. So that being said, I had a pretty new guy that a few weeks earlier I'd kind of got to listening to him, and he brought up some woodworking stuff that he was working on, and so I had an idea, or a had a thought that he likes to do that type of stuff. He likes to work with wood. He likes to build things. So I thought, well, what better of a situation could I put this new person in that we were trying to kind of get to open up? He's very kind of held back to himself, and we were trying to really feel him out, trying to really get him involved in the team. And so I thought, man, this would be a perfect situation. It's something that we need to get done, and it's something that he has an interest in doing. So I went to him and I gave him that. I gave him that kind of responsibility of, you know, basically, this is what we have. The dimensions. This is kind of the very generic idea I have in my head. We're going to kind of divide it into 5 cubbies because we got 5 people. Get some plans together, get a list of materials we need, and we'll go get it to work. I did not micromanage it. I didn't tell him what I wanted it to look like. I just gave him some very vague parameters and let him run with it. Well, weeks went by and nothing was getting done. And I mentioned it a few times here and there, just kind of like, oh yeah, we need to get back on that, and not really trying to just kind of give him some nudges, and it wasn't working. And so just so happened that I was off work one day, and my driver was stepping up into my role, and he had either texted or called asking if there was anything that he needed to do for the day, and he talked about it for a little bit. I said, hey, do me a favor. And I kind of told him the situation. I said, I'm trying to use this as a tool to empower him, to really be a part of the team, to add value to our team, to feel like he is one of us, and to build some respect and some trust with the other guys. And so I said, can you please kind of give him a friendly nudge in the direction of this needs to get done? I thought maybe him being more in line with that kind of informal leader, maybe that would be the better route to go. And so, literally a couple hours later, I was texted a picture of plans that were drawn up and ready to go, and a materials list, and it was awesome. And so, I like telling that story because it's a great example of one, empowering that new person to step up and do something big. That was something big in his eyes. It's kind of the first thing that he got to be in charge of. But also, it was also a time to empower my driver, who was stepping up into a temporary formal role for today, to kind of get that process moving. And so several things were going on right there. And it was such a great kind of story and an example of this. And so, I just, like I said, I like telling that story as an example, but empowerment is huge. I have next on my list is to avoid micromanaging. And that's really, I feel like that's the two sides of the coin, empowerment and micromanagement. There is no mix. It's either one or the other. If you are a micromanager, there is no empowerment. It does not exist. If you're truly somebody that leads by empowerment, you will not be a micromanager. They just don't go together. And next I have in the building trust is train. Get out there and train with them. Be involved. Show them that you are willing to fail. Show them that it's okay to mess up. Because if I'm the leader of that crew, formal, informal, whatever, and I'm stepping up and putting myself out there with the very much likelihood of failing, how can they say, man, I don't really want to do it, because they're scared to fail? It's a lot harder to feel that way if those that you look up to are stepping up themselves and putting themselves out there. So getting out and being a part of your crew when they're training, that's a big deal. I hate seeing crews that, the firefighters are doing firefighter things and the drivers and the captains are just either sitting there watching, or they're not even in the same area because, well, that's not what they do. Well, I get it. That's not what you do. It's not what I do. But you are losing such a great opportunity by not involving yourself in that training. Such a great opportunity to build respect from them because you're out there doing the work with them. Such a great opportunity to build trust in them because they see what you can do and they want to be better because you are better. You are getting better. And that also helps you start to gain even more trust for them because you see what they are capable of. So when you get on scene of something, you know exactly what your people can do. You know their strengths, you know their weaknesses, you know, okay, their weaknesses, so you know exactly what areas they need help in. So there's so many great benefits of getting out and training with them. Officers, I'm speaking to you. Stop separating yourself when training is going on. Stop it. You have got to involve yourself in training. You have got to start pulling lines, forcing doors, climbing ladders, throwing ladders. I don't care if you do that on scene or not. You have got to be involved in it, because who is there to teach the people that you're underneath? Are you relying on your training division to be that person all the time and the only people? Are you relying on, the elder firefighters to do it? What if you don't have any of those? What if the training division doesn't have time to come train you today? Who is responsible for that? You are. That is, man, that I cannot speak enough passion into that to truly express how I feel the importance of that. We as officers have to step up and be a part of training. I know that I gear all of this movement towards firefighters to captains, but if you're a chief and you're listening, or if you're a captain becoming a chief, that goes for chiefs too. I can't tell you the last time I saw a chief in bunker gear, let alone an SCBA or pulling lines or anything. I can't tell you the last time I've seen that. I wish I could. I wish that we put more importance in to training below your level, because there's so much benefit to be had by that. And so I will step off the soapbox, but I hope that you can see it is a very passionate area for me. It is a very important area for me. And so I want to truly pass that on to you. And so that's kind of how I feel. So getting into building respect, building respect, get out of your office. If you were a formal leader, get out of your office. If you're a driver, get off of the recliner. If you're a firefighter, get out of the recliners. Get out and do something. If you have one person on your crew that wants so badly to train or wants to get better, and you're sitting around doing nothing or making excuses why you can't do something with them, I wish that you could feel as ashamed of yourself as you should, because it's so sad and it happens all the time, all over the place. Get out of your office and be involved in their day. If your crew is washing the truck, get out of your office and wash that truck. We had just a couple shifts ago, the guys were pulling the brush pumper out and washing it, and I was out there washing it with them. And after it was over, my senior firefighter came up to me and said, "Man, you don't have to be out here washing this truck with it. You need to go inside and do whatever you need to do." And I'm like, "Man, I'm doing what I want to do right now. This is where I want to be." You know, this is what I told him. This is part of the process. I gain nothing by sitting in my office doing whatever it is I would be doing. There's so much to be gained by being out there and being a part of the work. It's just like the training conversation I just went through. Washing the floors, be out there with them. Cooking dinner, help when you can. Washing dishes, help when you can. Am I the perfect example of all this? No. Just like everything else I speak of. If I am talking about it, please take it that I am talking to myself and telling myself the things I need to get better at, not that these are the things that I do perfectly and you should do them perfectly. But we have got to get better at getting out of our office and involving ourselves in the day-to-day stuff with our crew. Do we have to be a part of everything? No. Do we have to sit there and sweep the floors every day, clean the bathrooms every day? No. Should we do it every once in a while to at least show that we care about them and that we can pull our weight too? Yes, absolutely. So that's kind of where I'll leave that. I think kind of the moral of that story is show them that you aren't going to ask anything of them that you aren't willing to do. And that's a pretty basic but pretty important statement. I'm not going to ask anything of you that I haven't already done or that I am not willing to do right now. So just think about that, man. And a perspective that I like to take, and I hadn't even really thought about this till just a few weeks ago when I was really struggling to figure out why I wasn't getting the buy-in that I had hoped on. So it just kind of clicked with me that, I was a firefighter once. I was a driver once. I was a lieutenant once. I was in those roles. So, okay, maybe it was a long time ago, but what made me motivated back then? What made me want to buy in to the good officers that I work for? What made me enjoy being at the firehouse? Because that's probably a pretty good start on what you need to do as a leader for your firefighters. And so that's just a good mindset, or a good kind of perspective to have when I start struggling with ideas and start struggling with why aren't things working as good as I had hoped. Start thinking of it like that. So, and kind of what I just talked about getting into the office. I wrote this down. I want to read it just so I don't screw it up. But this is something that it came to me, and I think it's so true. And it's this: you don't gain respect as a leader by sitting in your office. Respect is earned on the app floor and the training ground. And that basically sums up everything that I just talked about: the bullet points for building respect, the bullet points for building trust. Those aren't going to happen by separating yourself. Those are not going to happen if you do not allow relationships to get built. Those are built by getting out and doing it, being a part of the team. Yes, you are the leader, but you are still a part of that team. So we can't put ourselves on a pedestal. We have to be a part of that team. We have to pull our weight in that team. We have to do everything we can to create an environment that people want to be in. And that takes doing your job. That takes getting out of your office, being a part of the team. So, like I kind of touched on it a little bit. I think I even touched on it on one of the first two episodes. Keep your eyes open. I can truthfully say that I work for some great bosses. I can just as truthfully say that I work for some crappy bosses. But the good thing about that is that I learned from all of them. I learned from the good ones. I learned from the bad ones. And all of those people, they have created the leader, the really the footprint of the leader that I am today. Because I learned who I wanted to be like. I learned who I didn't want to be like. And so you add that into, the values that you hold important, and that's who you are. And so I am thankful for those times. I'm thankful for the bad times that, I had to persevere through, the crappy bosses, the times that I have not wanted to be at the firehouse. I have been a part of crews that I just didn't want to be there. I have been a part of crews that I wish I could be there every day. And that is a statement that another statement that I really have talked about for years and years and years. It takes a special kind of a-hole to make the fire service a crappy job. It literally takes no work at all to make the fire service fun. If you are leading a crew that nobody wants to be a part of, that people don't want to come to work to be at, I I don't even know where to start. It's time to change. It takes very little effort at all to create an environment that people want to come to be a firefighter. It's the best job in the world. It's the most fun job in the world. So let's not make it suck. Let's not make it work. It's fun. I don't care what we're doing. If we're running 18 sick calls and 27 lift assist and spending 3 hours cleaning trucks up, we can still make it fun. It's still fun hanging out with the people that we enjoy being around. And so let's try to do better at making this job as fun as it should be. Looking over my notes, we're about to wrap it up. I can't have this conversation without kind of giving some props to my boss. I talked about learning from the good ones, learning from the bad ones. I work for a battalion chief right now, Chief Barry Garrett, and I guarantee you will never find a more caring individual than Chief Garrett. It's truly amazing how much he cares about every single person. He does such a great job of knowing every single person. He knows, and I'm speaking as much as I know. It seems like he knows everybody's family. He knows their names. He knows that I live on a farm, and that I probably struggled this past week going through the winter storm that we had. And so, he asked about the animals, and he asked about my family, and he knows about some of the bad life situations that I've went through and that my kids have went through. And so he asked about that. It's just, it is inspiring to be around somebody that cares that much for his people. And I love that so much. And that makes me see how important that is to lead like that, to to have a personality and have such a just an a outpour of caring and just sitting there and listening to what's going on with those people that you work with. That is such a big deal, and that makes me want to be that kind of person, that kind of leader. And so I definitely wanted to add that in there because it is amazing how easy he makes it seem to know people's names, know wives' names, know kids' names, and to care so much in a day and age where people just don't give a crap about other people. He cares more than anybody I've ever met. And so that makes me want to care about my people more. That makes me want to make sure I know my people's spouses' names, their kids' names, the general age of their kids. Am I perfect in that? And absolutely not. You know, I feel like I am doing a decent job at it, but I still can improve. But that's just an example of something that I look up to and want to be like. So to start wrapping it up, respect. I talked about trust is given, mistrust is earned. Respect is earned. It cannot be demanded. And kind of touching on another subject that I have on my list is, that influence over authority. That's going to be another big one for me. But we cannot demand respect. Demanding respect will get you the exact opposite of what you're looking to get. And so we have to start finding ways to build that respect. Hopefully all of you out there that are listening that are firefighters or drivers that haven't reached that formal role yet, hopefully you have spent your time on a department building relationships, building trust from others, building respect from others, because it's so important to have that groundwork at least started. So when you move into that officer role, it's already, you've already got that foundation working. And so all you have to do is just keep building on it. If you're somebody that hasn't done that, if you haven't done a good job of being respected through your career, you got to start today. It's got to start today. And if you don't start today, then you better start tomorrow. Because it is so important to have that respect, especially when you are a company officer. I have seen firsthand people that get up into high positions that don't have the respect of the crew or the shift or the department. And man, it is a road that I don't ever want to be on. Can you overcome it? Absolutely. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. It will take every ounce of everything you have in you to overcome that. But it's got to be done. Nothing is going to change unless you put the work in to change it. And so if that's you, if you have done a poor job of building a reputation through your career, if you have done a poor job of building respect from others, your peers through your career, building trust through your career, you have got to start it today. And it's going to take everything you have, but you have got to do it. Because without those things, you will not succeed. nobody will want to work with you. You have got to start building that foundation of trust and respect, and it's got to start today. So it's about all I have. I appreciate your time as always. I'm so excited for this platform, this project. I hope that I can find ways of truly just gaining every little piece of benefit that we can gain from this. I'm still looking. Oh, I just got done doing the first live discussion of the first couple episodes. I suck at being on live, so please kind of give me a little bit of leeway there until I get used to that. But I think it's a kind of a good starting point. I'll put these videos out, and in a day or two or three or whenever I can get to it, I want to have some discussion. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear some different perspective, because this isn't about me sitting here telling you my opinion. This is about us getting better. And one voice is not going to reach the potential that it could. It's going to take all our voices. And so if I said something today that piqued some interest, let me know. If I said something today that you completely agree in and that you're struggling through, let me know. If I said something today that you completely disagree with, let me know. That's how we're going to get better. I hope that if you have had the mindset of separation is the only way to be a leader, I hope that I have kind of talked you out of some of that, because it's truly a sad thought to me that I would have to separate myself from my people. I can't imagine having to lead like that. And I don't for a second believe that you have to. And so I thank you for your time. I will leave you with kind of that statement again that I said, you don't gain respect as a leader by sitting in your office. Respect is earned on the app floor and the training ground. Get out and get involved. It's worth it. Chief Isaacson, his statement is it's worth the risk. Well, not exactly the same context, but it is worth the work of getting out and being a part of that team, because you will benefit way more than you would ever imagine if you just get out and be a part of that team. So thank you. Look forward to finding a time here in the next few days of getting on live again and hearing your feedback. Just thank you for helping me create a better fire service, one leader at a time, because that is what it's going to take. It's going to take us at the street level getting better every day to make this a better fire service. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a quick process, but it's not going to get done if we don't start right now. So thank you again. Look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Underground Leadership Movement. See you in the underground next time.